Kennecott Utah Copper. Kennecott Utah Copper LLC KUC, a division of Rio Tinto Group, is a mining, smelting, and refining company. Its corporate headquarters are located in South Jordan, Utah. Kennecott operates the Bingham Canyon Mine, one of the largest open-pit copper mines in the world in Bingham Canyon, Salt Lake County, Utah. The company was first formed in 1898 as the Boston Consolidated Mining Company. The current corporation was formed in 1989. The mine and associated smelter produce 1% of the world's copper. History. Utah Copper Company had its start when Enos and Ruwal realized the potential of copper deposits in Bingham Canyon, 15 miles 24 km southwest of Salt Lake City, Utah in 1887. He acquired claims to the land and started underground mining. In the mid-1890s, metallurgist Daniel C. Jackling and mining engineer Robert C. Jamel inspected the property and liked the prospects. Both men examined Wall's properties and recommended open-pit mining. In 1898, Samuel Newhouse and Thomas Weir formed the Boston Consolidated Mining Company. Jackling and Wall formed the Utah Copper Company on 4 June 1903 with Charles L. Esser, Charles McNeil, Spencer Penrose, Boyce Penrose, Tal Penrose, and Dr. R. A. F. Penrose as investors. McNeil was named president, Spencer Speck Penrose was named secretary-treasurer, and Jackling was named general manager. The company immediately started a pilot mill at Copperton. With financing from Guggenheim Exploration, the first digging began in 1906. The same year, the Kennecott Mines Company was formed in Alaska, named after explorer and naturalist Robert Kennecott. A smelter was also started at Garfield, Utah by the American Smelting and Refining Company ASARCO to refine the Bingham Canyon ore. In 1907, the Utah Copper Mill in Magna started operation. Utah Copper and Boston Consolidated merged in 1910. 5 years later, in 1915, Kennecott acquired a 25% interest in the company. In 1915, to dilute the cost of railroad construction to support the mines and to find new ventures for the capital produced by the Alaskan mine, Kennecott Copper Corporation was incorporated from the various financial interests involved. By this time, the Guggenheim Exploration was already actively working copper mines in Chile and Utah. Upon Kennecott's creation, they merged their Braden Copper Company property in Chile, as well as 25% of the Utah Copper Company, into Kennecott. These actions resulted in Kennecott taking possession of Braden's El Teniente 108, the world's largest underground copper mine, located in the Chilean Andes. Founded by William Braden and E. W. Nash of New York City, the Braden Copper Company had started mining there in 1906. In Utah, the Bingham and Garfield Railway opened in 1911 to transport local ore, replacing the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad's line. In 1936, Kennecott acquired all the assets of the Utah Copper Company. During World War II, Bingham set new world records for copper mining and produced about 30% of the copper used by the Allies. During the war, many women worked for the first time in the mines, mills, and smelters, replacing the men who had gone to war. On September 9, 1949, 3 Kennecott Company officers were killed in an airplane bombing in Quebec. They were the retiring President E. T. Stannard, his designated successor, Arthur D. Stork, and R. J. Parker, a vice president. They were incidental to what became known as the Albert Guay affair, innocent bystanders killed in a private revenge. Guay had shipped a timed explosive device in the luggage of his wife on this flight. When it exploded, she and all the other passengers and crew on the plane were killed. Charles Cox, formerly head of Carnegie Illinois Steel, was hired shortly after to fill the executive vacuum at Kennecott. By 1961, Kennecott's copper mines in the United States included 4 large open pits in Arizona, New Mexico, and Nevada. As the mine in Utah expanded, It subsumed the land on which the city of Bingham Canyon was built, and the city was disincorporated in 1971. In 1981, after a worldwide fall in copper prices, Standard Oil of Ohio Sohio acquired Kennecott. Production was interrupted from 1985 to 1987. In 1986, Asarco purchased the Ray Mine in Arizona from Kennecott. In 1987, British Petroleum acquired Sohio and Kennecott became part of BP Minerals America. In 1989, Rio Tinto Zinc Artesia purchased mining assets from BP. Kennecott Utah Copper Corporation was formed by Rio Tinto in 1989 as a new mining company under the laws of the state of Utah. Current operations. Today, the second largest copper producer in the U.S., Kennecott Utah Copper provides about 8% of the U.S. annual copper consumption of 1,700,000 tons. Kennecott's Bingham Canyon Mine is the largest man-made excavation in the world. It is one of the top producing copper mines in the world with cumulative production over 17 million tons, 19 million short tons of copper. In 2020, Bingham Canyon produced 140,000 tons, 310 million lb of copper, along with 171,200 troy ounces, 5,320 kg of gold. Since Rio Tinto purchased Kennecott Utah Copper in 1989, it has invested about $2 billion in the modernization of KUC operations. In 2020, Kennecott Utah Copper directly employed 2,171 people and contributed to more than 14,000 indirect Utah jobs. Rio Tinto Group, one of the world's largest mining operations, comprises dual-listed companies Rio Tinto Limited based in Melbourne and Rio Tinto plc based in London. Although each company trades separately, the two Rio Tintos operate as one business. Sustainability. KUC is considering alternatives that will keep the Bingham Canyon mine open for additional decades. A massive rock slide at the mine in 2014 did not stop Rio's plans to extend the mine's life by another decade to 2029. The company says there's still as much ore in the ground as miners have taken out of Bingham Canyon since it began production in 1906. The company proposes to expand the mine and reach an additional 700 million tons of ore resource by pushing back the south wall of the Bingham Canyon mine 1,000 feet and deepening it 300 feet. Environmental relations. Land development. Another Rio Tinto-owned company manages the non-mining land and water assets previously owned by KUC, Kennecott Land Company. Kennecott Land was established by Rio Tinto in April 2001 to develop surplus mining land. Daybreak Community, the first part of the process, is situated on 4,126 acres 1670 ha, 16.70 km2, in the city of South Jordan, where 20,000 homes and up to 14 million square feet, 1,300,000 m2 of commercial space are planned. Opened in 2009, Daybreak's first commercial center, Sodar Row, contains a boutique, restaurants, hair salon, and more. Labor relations. During the copper strike of 1912, Utah Copper Company brought many Mexican and Mexican-American strikebreakers to the Bingham mine. Most of them did not remain after the settlement of the strike. Company records reveal that by 1918, large numbers of Spanish surnamed individuals began to be employed at the mine, and additional Latinos were recruited during the labor shortages of WW2. For many of these men, it marked the beginning of long careers as copper workers. Issues of the company magazine Kennecott in the 1950s emphasized the diversity of the workforce. In 1953, there were 20 ethnic backgrounds from Native American to Japanese. Kennecott laid off 200 workers in March 2016 due to a fall in global commodity prices.